Good morning, everyone. It's the 25th of January, and this is the second video that I'm putting out today. I just wanted to update everyone on PGV. A couple of long videos to put on the end of these, so I thought I'd break it up into two videos so it's not like an hour and a half. But this one, we're doing PGV and some updates on PGV. So just to read a couple of things on Discord, everyone should be on Discord, so get on Discord. Says we will not be implementing any cap on BSC USDC contract until after refunds are all done. So no rush there. Like I mentioned yesterday, I was saying, yeah, you better get on there. Of course, getting on there will save a position. So anyway, they're just saying no rush until after you get all the refunds from all three contracts out. Okay. So also he says no one from PGV team will direct message you. If you get any DMs, direct messages from accounts like this or similar, block and report them. And it just gives you three examples. One says PGV help and it has number 3594. PGV admin number 2099 and PGV role verification 9753. Those were all examples of false dev people, and it has the number at the end of it. That's the only way you can really tell the difference. A lot of them will say the same thing but be a verified dev member, but like he says, they will never DM you. So if you get a DM without you asking for one, a response back, then just report it. It says block and report. Pocket Aces has come out with another couple of videos. One I started listening to, and I think it's just kind of a edited version of his love letters to the mods. So the second one is called the average rate update for PGV members only. So I'm going to post that one, and you guys can get some information off of him. Let's see, on the front web page here, just go to this one here, and I've made $4.10 off of 100. So as far as, let me see if I can see what yesterday's percentage rate was. It just says daily GemBot percentage. Click on that. So yesterday it was 0.435, giving us a running average of 0.75. So hopefully once everything settles down as far as doing tons of refunds and getting everyone moved over here, it'll calm down a little bit. This actually shows, yeah, 5.7 million coming over so far. So what I'm going to do is just check my BSC, see if I can, because I still don't have my refund. I checked in here and it has not showed up in my MetaMask yet for the BSC USDT contract. It's always so confusing to say those words. So I'm going to go to the contract and see if I can reinvest. Last night I reinvested. It was like $65. So I'm going to copy this, go over to the contract, and go down to number 22, user info. I should compact or reinvest a little earlier in the night than I do, because sometimes it doesn't have, yeah, it's only 46 bucks. So in $4 more I will reinvest. So that's where you find it, is under BNB. Scroll over and you got $46 in there. Once it's $50 you can reinvest it. So I'm reinvesting twice a day until I see my MetaMask pop up with the 5,000 that's in there. That Should be in there. So I'm going to go to right. That's what you do, and you click connect. Got to verify you're connecting, and then do it again. This is just me doing it repetitively so that people can do it. And so write contract, and it'll do it. Pretty quick and easy on that one. Okay, so I'm going to put on the Pocket Aces video and enjoy that. And tomorrow, hopefully, there'll most likely be another announcement for everybody. And pretty soon we'll get everything all together and calm down, and hopefully from there it'll be smooth sailing. All we'll need to do is go to Discord and look up what the percentage is from yesterday and add it to our calculator that we all have. And I'll put everything in the description below that you need for links. And all right, talk to you tomorrow. Bye.
All right, guys, thank you so much for joining on this one. This one's going to be pretty important. We're going to load it up in the system, give you guys about an hour to watch it, and then we'll open up the chat back up again. If you're watching this after that, then none of this matters. But I do want a few moments on a soapbox, and I'm hoping I'm going to post this to the admins and make sure they're all good with the conversation I'm going to have with you guys here. And not to make this take long, I'm going to get right into it. Mandy's created a pretty darn amazing project here. And it's one that's gone through quite the evolution and a lot of change. And change can feel very stressful. And unfortunately, when people get stressed, they react in ways that are probably not to their normal character. And it does make it hard to manage a Discord, even with the amount of people we have. I, as you guys may know, have a full-time job. I look forward to getting out of that at some point in the near future. But right now, I gotta be there. But I care. And hopefully you guys see that in the Discord, as well as all the other admins who show they care by being there and having the conversation with you. We'll sometimes get a little bit snippy. We'll sometimes get a little bit dry with how we answer things. But at the same token, so is everybody else. And I understand why some of our community who's very passionate about what we're doing get a little bit overbearing as well. And I'm not only asking the people that are coming in being entitled to cool their role. I'd also like us all to cool our roles, the ones that are a little bit too. When I run a Discord as a mod, I really love it when I can take the fanboys down a notch, and I love it when I can take the fudders or negatives, because I don't even really find they're fudders. They're just people that need to have clarity, and bring them up a notch, and where we can all kind of exist in this really cool symbiotic way, and have really great conversations and have emojis in the chat and all that stuff. We're not quite there yet, but I think we've got an opportunity to get there, and hopefully this information will help that. So it's just a little bit of a please and a little bit of a plea to you guys that we maybe try and change our kind of a objection of here and what this can be, and understand how it's trying to be sustainable, and understand too that in the background we're having conversations on your guys' behalf. We're having conversations to try and figure out what the best move forward is. And now that I've been involved in the team enough days, I can see people that care so much. So first off, quickly, before I move on to the actual meat and potatoes, along that note, we care so much about all these people that are getting hurt via scams, but we can't we're not a bank. We don't have a $1 billion fund for fraud prevention. This is DeFi. We can't pay back everybody that loses their wallet. We also can't believe everyone that comes in saying my wallet got hacked, because unfortunately, there's just as many bad actors trying to play that card and maybe finding ways to get proof or whatever. So we need you guys to be vigilant. We need you to ask questions when things don't seem right. If someone is asking you for information or asking you to click on a link, you have to hear me when I say do not do it. If you feel the need, take a screenshot, post it in the Discord. Somebody will tell you, no, don't do that. I promise you that. And or send it to one of us. Like, we are so much happier to be preventative. I had somebody that sent me a message and unfortunately went and clicked on it because the person put a little bit of pressure on them before I had a chance to answer. I felt horrible for that, but unfortunately there's no fault to me there. But because I care and have empathy, it made it very hard. So sorry, I appreciate you listening to that, but let's move on to the fun part. So we had a chat, and we're making some changes that are very, very positive, and probably, in my opinion, how they would have been in the first place. But it was hard to. You got to understand, Manny's super, super busy. And unfortunately, he's on the side where he has all the information. But I can guarantee you, because I've been a very busy person before and am, that sometimes it's hard to either A, voice it all, B, keep track of it all in the moments that you need it, and C, get it out to all of us in the way we need it. So what we're doing right here is creating one combined effort, and the mods will see this first, the admins will see this first, and we'll all be together on how this is working, and hopefully all of you will be very clear on how this is working. So here we are in the AMA, 28 minutes 52 seconds if you need to go back and see it. Basically, we've got a bot that closed, or whatever amount of bots that closed that day. So keep in mind here, we have multiple bots that are running at the same time, and they're going to close at different times, and then others will get back in. This protocol is just starting off, so we don't quite have the revolving door happening, and again, Manny's not as involved as well because he's got to do all the refunds. So sometimes he would get into bots and do things to help create better returns. All this kind of stuff is not able to be as productive as it usually is. So the return we had, 5.3. I'll just quickly go through the calculation that we had before that showed when he took that 5.3 and divided by the 9 days that was active, it gave us the 5.888 and rounded up to 5.89. So as you can see, our rates have been not the greatest. There's market conditions you guys have to keep in mind, and B, the one biggest one I think you guys have to keep in mind is, as much as you guys saw your 2% coming in every day, that doesn't mean the bots were performing at 2% every day. Some days there might have been 0 closes. Some days there might have been massive closes and rates like, let's say, 6%, which are possible. We haven't seen them yet. Manny's been showing us the stuff, going through this stuff. We haven't seen these 6%, but they're possible. And what happens if tomorrow is a 6%? We're at 1.62. So now we've jumped up massively. Now, I understand this part was unclear. We hadn't seen a day like that, so we didn't understand that a day like that could happen and what it would do to the average rate. Now, let's say we have another great day, and we, let's say, do 4%. Now we're at 1.96. So now let's say we still do above 2, and we have, let's say we do 8%. It really doesn't matter. I'm just trying to illustrate things. Bam, we're above 2%. Now, this is the one thing that still cannot happen. We will not go above 2%. And there's a reason for this. And this is similarly to how the original project, I'm assuming, worked. I wasn't there to know it. I wasn't in behind the scenes. But I'm assuming there was a fund that got built up. And as needed, it would help feed the 2% to help sustain it when times were not as good. And this is where, when we closed down shop, we were still able to get and show that they weren't a Ponzi scheme before I came on, by being able to allow the project to continue on even when things were not as good in the market. But now, because we're a variable rate, you guys are seeing the inner workings of what actually is going on behind the scenes. And unfortunately, because of timing, we're seeing rates that are not as nice. And we may have to go on for quite a few days where we're seeing these rates that aren't as good. And yes, if you pull out early, your returns are not going to be as good. So there's some strategy, I guess, here for you, and that's up to you, whether you want to pull out sooner or later or whatever. So what's going to happen here is, when we hit the 2% threshold, the additional funds that are generated are now going to go into insurance fund. This can be used in a couple of ways. Basically, hopefully never have to be used. But the idea is that it would go towards, basically, if we had to bolster up the rate because maybe we had a black swan event, or maybe we had just a period of time where it was sitting very, very low and our rate was getting closer to our bottom, and we needed to kind of hold that line for a period of time of the 0.05 that we promised. Anything's possible. This is DeFi. But the good thing is, if we have this insurance fund, we can protect against that. We can protect against problems that arise in the system. Like, hopefully nothing, but we've had this going along enough that I don't think we have to worry about that. And so then again, once this starts happening, our average rate will stay at 2% and the funds will go aside. But then what's going to happen is, let's say we have some lower rates, it's going to go down. Now, the lower rates are going to affect it more than what I'm doing right now. So maybe what I'll do is I'll get more, because if you notice here, it's going to go to 2.53. It's still not going to go below 2. So still there's going to be money going aside. when we do this. So how that exactly works to the minute detail, I'll leave that to them because they're the ones working the back scene. But hopefully this illustrates this really nicely for you and helps you understand. But as I said, we could end up having days where we stay low. And what you have to understand is we could have days that go lower and we could end up being lower and lower and having less and less of an income. I know that hurts. And if you're planning your life around what happens with PGV, then I'm sorry, you have to plan differently. I'm not a financial advisor. I do work for banks, but you need to plan a little differently because this needs to be your fun money, if anything, or your way to diversify or the way to collect back the funds you've lost in other projects. There's different ways you can look at this money, but you've got to manage it accordingly. So I'd be planning myself that if I want to build a certain bag that's going to pay me a certain amount, I'd be planning for a 0.5%, maybe even 0.1 or 2 or 3% as what I'm gaming for, and anything else is gravy. That way I can protect myself against cash flow problems and that kind of stuff. So I hope this really rings through for everybody and really help you understand what's going on in the background. Obviously, as this unfolds, it'll become clearer and clearer for everybody. Right now, the hard part is we have limited data points, which makes it very hard to comprehend at first. But now that I think we've got this out of the way, I hope this helps clear things up really, really well for you, and helps us get back to a Discord that's going to be fun and entertaining, and hopefully educational as well, and help us learn how to navigate this DeFi space in a really positive way, because things are changing. We're seeing projects that are accountable, and we're seeing a project right here that has evolved so well, and the change, as much as it was scary, has helped create trust, create a system, create a project that is sustainable now. As much as it might have seemed scary and seemed fearful, we've survived it, and not many projects can say that. So thank you so much for hanging out with me for this one. I hope everybody has a chance to take a really close look at this and understand everything. I do appreciate you hopefully sticking around for the start of this, where I had a little bit of a soapbox moment for our team, and for you guys, because I want this space to be enjoyable for all of you, and Manny does, and the rest of the mods do. We want this to be safe. We want this to be, like I said, educational. We want this to be a community and not just a whole bunch of individuals that want to fight for their opinion. So thank you, and hopefully we'll be able to open things up soon, and have yourselves a fantastic evening.